2 is out here? Wow. Maybe I should review the first season of The Boys. That might be my bestest idea yet. Just some coming on a review that might save the world. Well, let's get into The Boys. If you didn't know, The Boys is based off a TV show that came out, is a TV show that came out in 2019. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I really loved the show for how it took its premise and set up, as it decided to focus more on real life superheroes, as it poked fun at companies like DC and Marvel. I kind of similarly processed this to, The Watchmen, but it's the downside of superheroes, and it answered a lot of my questions I wanted to know, like what if superheroes were owned by a company and many others. And it's so fun to see a show where the superheroes are the bad guys, and you're rooting for people who want to kill these superheroes. Now, I'm going to get even into more details. Fun fact, it's based off a comic book. Now, if you saw it closely and you saw the bald dude, that was Huey. Now, my main question was, why didn't they cast Charlie Penn to play Huey, as that's who the guy looks like more in the comics? Like I said before, this thing still pokes fun at characters in DC Comics and Marvel characters, making a ripoff of Superman and Captain America combined together. And he did not just do that, it kind of switched, how do I say this, genders around. What do I mean? Stillwell is now a female Seven-Man, and in Season 2, when I will officially be reviewing Season 2 as a Part 2, but until that officially comes out, there won't be a Part 2 coming out sooner or later. But let's get into it. Up as usual, as it starts off was seeing the superheroes being up bad guys. Now, these aren't your regular superheroes, like I said before. They're made to poke fun at Marvel and DC. So Homelander is a ripoff of Superman meeting Captain America. What do I mean? If you don't get it, Superman is a superhero who can fly, do everything that the characters basically wrote and came up with while writing the stories. Now, after that, now you're saying, how does he resemble Captain America? His resemblance of Captain America is, this. His cape. The cape in general reminds me of Captain America, as they symbolize Captain America, and do a good job at playing that story up. Now, the team is set up around these characters in the first season, the 7. These characters include Homelander, Madam Maeve, and, of course, even more characters like A-Train and Black Noir, and the Deep, and a newcomer, Starlight. All of them are great characters in general. And some characters, I'm pretty bummed out that some of the characters that had interesting plot lines didn't get that much. As only one character didn't. That character was, the Black Noir. I found him so interesting in seeing him as we just got to see him be so qualitative. And now in Season 2, I hope we get more of his story arc. But it seems like we're not, as we only got one episode where he's killing the bad guys in general. So I was kind of mad about that. And if you're at the age of maybe 5, 6, or 7, don't watch The Boys. It is not that kind of show for you. Now, like I said before, I'm glad it came out when it came out, as things like Deadpool were starting to come out and kind of changed up the superhero genre. Now I'm going to get back to what I was saying before. If you looked at the cover, you could see Huey, a dude who looks more like Charlie Penn, and cast that an actor who looks nothing like him at all. Nothing like him. And I later learned that they casted Charlie Penn to play, Huey's dad. Now, that was a funny gag reel and everything, and I get why now. If you're going off the comic books, which is more grittier and has a full story arc, that makes more sense. But they switched it up, and that's maybe my biggest problems. They switched up a bunch of stuff. Starting off with, how do I put this to you? That there's no other superheroes that we're introduced to into Season 2. What I mean, we're only introduced to all the 7 members, but no other superheroes. We don't even get to hear of them. And we learn about Starlight, but there's no other superheroes introduced. And in the Season 2, they kind of introduced our hero that was a rip-off of Green Arrow, but he right now doesn't seem to come back in the story. So if I'm going to plot and telling a story, it doesn't get any better. It's kind of took us some key elements of the stories and books and just put it out the story. Now, like I said before, it's around Huey, a dude who has lost his girlfriend named Robin to A-Train, a rip-off of The Flash, and Quicksilver, kind of. He runs fast, and he kills her by running very fast. Later that day, after this has happened, he goes to the police, but they don't believe him. Now, the company Vought, the company that owns the 7 superheroes, decided to give them a check, saying that if he keeps quiet about this, no one will ever hear about it, he'll keep getting money. Who he's not cool with doesn't want to let this slide. And later, while he's working at his job, we are introduced to Butcher. Now, Butcher's one of my favorite characters of the show. And he takes no nonsense attitudes, as he gets the real actor gets to play his own Australian accent and kind of goes out in this role. So yeah. Anyway, Butcher's girlfriend, well, his wife, as I like to call it, was, well, how do I say this without going overboard? Was kind of assaulted by Homelander, the superhero, who in fact, after that, she goes missing. But she doesn't know what happened to her, and he is ready to get revenge on her with the help of a friend. He has even more people coming to help him. I'm not going to go into all the names because I don't want to get even bigger on the detail. I'm also forgetting Translucent. I also forgot to mention him because, well, he's a character that you can't see. I don't remember any characters that are in Marvel, well, Invisible Woman, or DC that were invisible until I just learned of Invisible Woman. I just remember. She can turn invisible, and Translucent is too, except that he's invincible. So, yeah. And he's the best superhero out of, well, the seven. Well, they're everybody's favorite superhero. What do I mean by this? Well, anytime you see a kid like the Cancer Kid that you saw in the season 1, when A-Train went to go meet him, guess what happens? His favorite hero is Translucent. One that basically everyone cares more about Translucent than any other member of the seven. And, well, that's how it goes. Now, I don't want to get into any further details, but all I'm going to say is, Huey and Butcher kidnap Translucent. He brings in a couple of his friends to help him finish him off. Now, what do I think of the season overall? The season isn't a bad show. Like I said before, season 1 was pretty good, and I'm mad it didn't get to go into more details or try to get a little bit more of the comic and stuff. I don't want to spoil anything else of the show, and I'm pretty mad and bummed out that we get even more stories and facts about it. Like characters that should have got to be in the show. And in season 2, I'm hoping they explore the World War as they introduce Stormfront, a new character who is also a male but changed to a female. I have no problem with this at all, as it's adding more diversity to the show. Like Battle Steel was changed from a male to a female in the show too. So that's not bad at all. Now, my only problem, like I said before, may begin with, well, how do I put this up? They put the story arcs in front. Like I said before, we only know about the 7. Other superheroes are just giving jobs and identities and doing their job. We're not introduced to any other superheroes, and we learn that there are superpower people out there, but we don't get to see them except for Starlight. So, yeah. It was kind of bummed out that I didn't even get more facts about it. But was the show at all bad? Well, no. As I said before, it's a pretty good show, and I want to know what we can do next time. I'll see you guys next time on Comicman06 Reviews, and this has been fun to review, and I can't wait for part 2.